Every night across America, thousands of truck drivers pull into a crowded truck stop parking lot and start muttering under their breath. The lot is full. The showers cost more than lunch, and the coffee tastes like burnt cardboard. Ask any driver at any fuel island what they think of truck stops, and you will get an earful. But here's the strange part. Those same drivers will be back tomorrow night, and the night after that. They don't have a choice, and the truck stops know it. To understand why drivers feel the way they do, you have to understand what truck stops used to be. Back in the 70s and 80s, a truck stop was a destination. Places like the old Union 76 truck stops had sit-down restaurants with waitresses who knew the regulars by name and remembered how they took their coffee. The food came off a real grill. Chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and pie that somebody's mother actually baked that morning. Drivers would park their Peterbilts and Kenworths in a gravel lot, walk in smelling like diesel, and nobody looked at them sideways. The CB radio culture was alive then, too. You'd hear about a good truck stop 300 miles before you reached it, because drivers on Channel 19 talked about which places had clean showers and which waitress would top off your thermos for free. A truck stop was where you got your information, your weather reports, your gossip, and your one hot meal of the day. It was the town square for people whose town moved at 65 miles an hour. Some of that world still exists. The Iowa 80 truck stop in Walcott, Iowa calls itself the largest truck stop in the world, and it earns the title. 900 parking spaces, a trucking museum, a dentist, a barber, a chrome shop where drivers spend paychecks on accessories for their rigs. Walk through Iowa 80 and you can feel what the whole industry used to feel like, but Iowa 80 is the exception, and drivers know it every time they pull into an ordinary lot somewhere outside Indianapolis at 9 at night. Which brings us to the first thing drivers genuinely hate, the parking war. Here is a number that shocks people outside the industry. Across the American highway system, there is roughly one public truck parking space for every 11 trucks that need one. 11 trucks, one spot. Now add federal hours of service rules to that math. A driver's clock allows 14 hours on duty, and when that clock runs out, the driver must stop. Not when it's convenient or when a spot finally opens up, but the moment the clock says so. So picture a driver rolling toward a busy interstate exit at 8 in the evening with 40 minutes left on the clock. The truck stop lot is already full. Trucks are packed door handle to door handle. Some of them parked crooked across the fuel island exits, some idling on the shoulder of the ramp because there was nowhere else to go. That driver now has a choice between circling to another exit and hoping, or breaking federal law, or parking somewhere illegal and dangerous. Drivers call the evening scramble for spaces the 100-mile decision because by late afternoon you're already planning where you'll sleep, sometimes cutting a driving day short and losing paid miles just to guarantee a legal place to shut down. And then the truck stops found a way to make money off the shortage. Reserved parking. Pull into a major chain location today and you'll see the best rows near the building marked with reserved signs. $15 to $20 a night to park in a spot that used to be free. Drivers were furious when reserved parking spread across the big chains, and many still are. From the company's side, it's simple supply and demand. From the driver's seat, it feels like being charged admission to sleep in your own bedroom, because that sleeper berth behind the seats is the driver's bedroom, and the parking lot is the only place the law allows them to put it. However, the anger at the register doesn't change the math at the exit ramp. When it's 10 at night and the reserved row is the only row with an open space, drivers pay. They grumble into the fuel desk microphone, and they pay. And even winning the parking war doesn't mean you get to rest. Spend one night in a full truck stop lot and you'll understand why drivers describe it as sleeping inside a machine. Refrigerated trailers, the ones drivers call reefers, run their diesel cooling units all night long, cycling on and off with a roar every few minutes. And if you're parked next to one, that roar is 3 feet from your pillow. Trucks pull in and out at all hours, air brakes hissing, backup alarms beeping, headlights sweeping across your curtains at 2 in the morning. Somewhere around 4, the early risers start their engines and let them warm up, and the whole lot vibrates like a drum. Then there's the geometry problem. A tired driver arriving at midnight has to back a 53-foot trailer into a space with running trucks on both sides, in the dark, with maybe 4 feet of clearance, while other rigs wait impatiently behind him. Drivers call the tight lots at night the demolition derby, and the scraped fenders and cracked mirrors in every lot prove the name is earned. Some drivers get boxed in overnight by a truck parked across their nose and can't leave until a stranger wakes up. So the driver hates the truck stop even while sleeping in it, which takes a special kind of talent. The second grievance is what happened to the food. That sit-down diner from the golden age has mostly vanished. In its place, the modern travel center offers a fast food counter, a wall of energy drinks, and the infamous roller grill, where hot dogs and taquitos rotate under heat lamps for hours like some kind of slow-motion carnival ride. Drivers joke that you can judge a truck stop by how long the taquitos have been spinning. The old truck stop restaurant chains that once served full breakfasts at 3 in the morning have closed locations year after year, and each closure removes one more place where a driver could sit in a real booth, order off a real menu, and be treated like a dinner guest instead of a transaction. Nutrition is a real problem in this industry. When your only food options for weeks at a time are fried chicken counters and candy aisles, health suffers, and drivers know it. Plenty of them now cook in their trucks with 12-volt skillets and small refrigerators, partly to save money and partly because the food court lost their trust years ago. The customer base gave up on the kitchen and started cooking in the parking lot. That's not a small complaint. That's a verdict. And something else quietly died with those diners: the 3 in the morning breakfast. There was a time when a driver running an overnight schedule could walk into a truck stop restaurant at any hour and get eggs, bacon, hash browns, and a waitress who'd been on the graveyard shift for 20 years and had heard it all. That meal was a reset button in the middle of a brutal night. Today, that same driver at 3 in the morning is standing under fluorescent lights, choosing between a cold sandwich in a plastic triangle and whatever survived on the roller grill. The calories are there. The humanity isn't. Grievance number 3 is the feeling of being a wallet on wheels. A shower at a major chain runs $15 to $17 if you're paying cash. Drivers earn free shower credits by fueling, usually 1 credit per 50 gallons or so, which sounds generous until you realize the system is designed to keep you buying fuel at one brand. The loyalty points programs work the same way. Points for fuel, points for food, points for everything. All of it engineered so that a driver who hates the chain still swipes the chain's card every single day. Inside the store, prices reflect a captive audience. A gallon of milk, a phone charger, a bottle of aspirin, all of it costs more at the travel center than it does 2 miles away at a grocery store the driver can't legally park at. And that's the trap in one sentence. The prices are high because the customers can't leave. A four-wheeler, which is what drivers call the rest of us in our cars, can shop around. A 70-foot truck cannot. It goes beyond the store shelves too. Need to weigh your load to stay legal? The certified scale at the truck stop charges $12 or $13 per weigh, and a reweigh after you slide your axles costs extra. Need truck parts, a tire, a wiper blade at midnight? The travel center has them, at travel center prices, because the nearest parts store closed at 6 and doesn't have a truck entrance anyway. Drivers understand exactly what's happening. They talk about it on the radio, they vent about it in the driver's lounge, and then they hand over the card, because the alternative to the expensive shower is no shower at all. But the fourth reason cuts deeper than money. It's about what waits outside the truck stop when there's no room inside. In March of 2009, a driver named Jason Rivenberg was hauling a load of milk through South Carolina. He arrived near his delivery too early, and the receiver wouldn't let him wait on their property. With no truck stop parking available, Jason pulled into an abandoned gas station to sleep. He was robbed and murdered there for the $7 he had on him. He left behind a wife and young children. His death led Congress to pass Jason's law, which directed federal attention and funding toward the truck parking shortage. Drivers still talk about Jason because every one of them has spent a night in a spot they didn't feel good about. A dark ramp, a closed way station, the gravel edge of an industrial road. When the safe lots are full, the unsafe places are all that's left, and every driver knows someone with a story. A break-in, fuel siphoned overnight, a knock on the door at 2 in the morning that they still think about. And the danger isn't only other people. Sometimes it's just the weather. Picture a January night on Interstate 80 through Wyoming, wind chill far below zero, and a driver shut down on a lonely ramp because every lot within 80 miles was full. Now the engine becomes the problem. Diesel fuel can gel in extreme cold and kill a motor overnight. An APU can fail, and in a lot of states and cities, anti-idling laws mean a driver isn't even allowed to run the engine for heat past a few minutes, with fines that can run into the hundreds of dollars. When the heat goes off in a truck cab in January, the temperature inside drops shockingly fast, and a sleeper berth turns into a steel refrigerator parked in the dark. This is exactly why the drivers who've been out there 30 years keep an emergency kit behind the seat and treat it like religion. Jumper cables, water, a flashlight, extra gloves, and more of them have added one small item to that kit, a compact thermal bivy called the TerraShell. It's basically an emergency sleeping bag that packs down smaller than a soda can, and instead of batteries or fuel, it works by reflecting your own body heat back at you, which means it still works when the engine won't. You climb in, zip up, and your body warmth does the rest, even in a freezing cab. It weighs a few ounces and lives in the glove box or the side pocket of the sleeper until the one night you need it. If you spend winter nights on the road, or you've got someone out there who does, I put the link in the description below. It costs about the same as one night in the reserved parking row, and it's the kind of thing you buy once and hope you never unwrap. Out there, nobody is coming to save you in the first few hours. You are your own rescue plan. Scarce parking, heat lamp food, hostage prices, and alternatives that range from uncomfortable to deadly. Every complaint on that list is legitimate. So why does every driver in America keep pulling in night after night, year after year? The first answer is the unglamorous one. There is nowhere else to go. A truck stop is the only business in the country designed to accept a 70-foot vehicle, sell it 300 gallons of diesel, feed its driver, wash its driver, and let both of them sleep on the property legally. Rest areas offer parking but no fuel, no food, no showers, and many close their truck lots or fill up by sunset. Walmart lots have banned overnight truck parking at most locations. Customer facilities usually kick drivers off the property the moment they're unloaded. The truck stop is simply the last business standing in a market where nobody else even showed up. Drivers don't return because they forgave the roller grill. They return because the American supply chain funnels every long-haul route through the same few hundred fuel islands, and everybody knows it, including the companies setting the shower prices. But the second answer is the one that matters more, and it's the one drivers don't always say out loud. The truck stop is the only place where a driver isn't alone. Think about what this job actually is. 11 hours a day inside a cab, alone. Meals eaten alone. 300 nights a year away from home, sleeping alone in a parking lot in a state your family has never visited. Long-haul trucking might be the most isolated legal profession in America. And then, once a day, the driver pulls into a fuel island and suddenly, there are people who understand. The driver at the next pump nods at you, and that nod means something, because he knows exactly what your day was like. He fought the same traffic through Chicago. He got held up at the same shipper. He's doing the same math on his clock that you are. In the driver's lounge, strangers fall into conversation like old friends, comparing routes, warning each other about a scale house that's running inspections, laughing about a dispatcher neither of them has ever met in person. Some drivers see the same faces at the same stops for decades. The Tuesday night regulars at an exit outside Amarillo. The old-timer who always has the corner booth. There are truck stop chapels in converted trailers where drivers pray together on Sunday mornings. There are waitresses at the surviving diners who have watched drivers' kids grow up through photos handed across the counter. And the helping culture is still alive out there, even if the CB radio mostly went quiet. Watch what happens when a rookie driver is struggling to back into a tight spot at night, sweating, pulling forward for the 5th time while the trucks stack up behind him. 9 times out of 10, an older driver climbs down from his cab, walks over, and spots him in with hand signals, patient as a grandfather teaching a kid to parallel park. Nobody asks him to. He remembers being the rookie. Drivers jumpstart each other's trucks, lend tools, share weather reports about a pass that's icing over ahead, and hand a spare pair of gloves to somebody who lost theirs. The Conversation moved from Channel 19 to Facebook groups and trucking apps, but it's the same conversation it always was. Which truck stop has hot water tonight? Which ramp has room? Who needs a hand? That's what the truck stop really sells, and it doesn't show up on any receipt. For a few hours a day, it turns the loneliest job in the country into a community. The complaining is real, but pay attention to how drivers complain. They gripe about truck stops the way people gripe about family. You can criticize your own, but the criticism is a form of belonging. The shared eye roll about parking fees, the running jokes about the coffee, the collective memory of how much better the food used to be, even the grievances are social glue. Two drivers who have never met can stand at a fuel island and bond instantly over everything wrong with the place they're both standing in. And then both of them will be back at the same chain tomorrow, 800 miles apart. There's an old saying among drivers that the truck is the office and the truck stop is the living room. It's not a great living room. The rent went up, the kitchen got worse, and there's never enough room on the couch. But it's the only living room there is, and everyone in it speaks your language. When a driver retires, plenty of them will tell you the strangest thing they miss is the stops, not the driving. The fuel island small talk. The familiar neon on the horizon after 400 hard miles, glowing like a lighthouse that smells like diesel and fried chicken. Hating the truck stop and needing the truck stop were never opposites. For 3.5 million American drivers, they're the same feeling, and it's a feeling that looks a lot like home. So now you know why the driver cursing in the parking lot tonight will be back in the same lot tomorrow. If you've lived this life, tell your best or worst truck stop story in the comments, because those stories deserve to be written down somewhere. And next up, we're getting into why so many experienced drivers are walking away from the industry entirely, and what that means for everything you buy. That one's already on your screen. Click it.